picturesque suburban home with a vibrant garden filled with colorful flowers and lush greenery. The tranquility of the neighborhood masks the secrets that lie beneath its surface. The overheard conversation. The sun was beginning to set, casting a warm golden hue over the garden. Emily, a bright and curious 22-year-old, was tending to her favorite roses when she noticed her stepfather, Mark, pacing back and forth on the phone. Mark was a charming man in his late 40s, known for his wit and intelligence. He had always been a father figure to Emily since her mother had remarried after her parents' divorce. As she deadheaded the flowers, Emily's curiosity piqued. Mark's voice was low, almost a whisper, but the tension was palpable. She could only catch snippets of his conversation. Words like deal, police, and danger sent shivers down her spine. What's going on, she thought, a knot forming in her stomach. She knew Mark was a clever man, often getting out of tight situations with his quick thinking, but this felt different, darker. The shocking discovery. Unable to resist the urge to know more, Emily crept closer, hiding behind a large hydrangea bush. The last rays of sunlight flickered through the leaves, casting shadows on the ground. As she listened, her heart raced. "I can't go back. They'll find me," Mark said, his voice edged with fear. "We can't let her know. She must never find out." The words pierced through Emily like a knife. What was he hiding? The image of the man she had trusted for years began to crumble. As the conversation continued, it became painfully clear that Mark was living under a false identity. He was wanted for a serious crime, something related to theft and betrayal, but the specifics were still murky. The internal conflict. That night, Emily lay in bed, unable to sleep. Her mind was a whirlwind of thoughts. The man she admired and respected was not who he seemed. The idea of turning him in gnawed at her conscience, but the thought of betraying her family was equally tormenting. Emily recalled the times Mark had supported her, helped her through school, and taught her how to drive. Was it possible he could still be that man despite his secrets? She felt torn between loyalty and morality. The next day, she decided to confront Mark. She waited until he returned home from work. As he walked through the door, she could see the exhaustion etched on his face. "Mark, we need to talk," Emily said, her voice steady but her heart racing. The confrontation Mark raised an eyebrow, sensing the tension in the air. "What's on your mind, Em?" "Why were you talking about the police in the garden? What aren't you telling me?" she pressed, trying to remain calm. His expression shifted from surprise to concern. He took a deep breath and sat down. "Emily, I can explain." For the next hour, Mark unraveled the truth. He had been involved in a high-stakes crime that had spiraled out of control years ago. After a major heist, he was forced to go into hiding, adopting a new identity to protect his family. He never intended for Emily to find out, believing it would keep her safe. "Please, you have to understand. I did it for you and your mother," he pleaded. "I thought we could live a normal life." The decision. Emily felt her world crash around her. The man she loved like a father was now a fugitive. The weight of the secret hung heavily on her shoulders. After a long silence, she spoke. "Do you think I can just forget this? You've lied to us for years. I need time to think," she said, tears streaming down her face. Days turned into weeks as Emily wrestled with her conscience. She watched Mark, seeing the guilt and fear in his eyes. He was still the clever, loving man she knew, but he was also a criminal. Finally, she made her choice. She would not turn him in, but she would confront him one last time. The resolution one evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting shadows in the garden, Emily approached Mark. "I can't keep this a secret forever. We need to come clean. To my mother and the police, you have to face what you've done." Mark looked at her, his eyes filled with gratitude and dread. "You're right. I can't keep running. I'll face the consequences, but I need your support." Emily nodded, feeling a mix of fear and relief. They made a pact to come clean together, ready to face the storm. Epilogue. New beginnings. The next morning they sat together in the kitchen, the air thick with tension. As they prepared to speak to Emily's mother and the authorities, Emily felt a sense of empowerment wash over her. They would face the truth together, no longer living in the shadows. In the end, it wasn't just about betrayal, it was about redemption, healing, and the bond of family that could withstand even the darkest secrets. In this gripping tale, Emily's journey from innocence to awareness highlights the complexities of family loyalty and the consequences of deception.